welcome back to my channel. My name is Kaina. Today I will be showing you how I made this top for this holiday season. So to start, I need some patterns, and I already have some patterns made. I use these to make a dress, and I'm just going to modify them. So this is the pattern, this is the back, and then this is the front. So it's going to have a dart on the side. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut it right here and then a little bit at the bottom as well, so it becomes more of a tube top. So it will look like this. This is the armhole, and this is the back piece, but it's just gonna give me an idea what it's gonna look like. Here and here, and this is how it's just gonna go. The fabric I want to use for this project is this one right here. I believe this is a taffeta. It's very, very pretty. So it has like green and blue threads. So it's very pretty, it's shiny. And yep, I bought this fabric at the thrift store. I found a bag with fabric scraps, and this fabric was in there. I have a video where I unbox that bag I bought with fabric scraps. It's on my Instagram, so if you guys want to check it out. But yeah, I found a lot of really cool fabrics, and this was one, and it's not a lot, but I already measured it and it should be enough for this project, so I'm excited to get started. To start, I decided to cut the ruffle of the top. I decided to use double the width of my underbust. For the ruffle, I cut two pieces. The first, the total width of the fabric, which is 27 inches, by the length, which is 8 inches. The second piece is 15 inches by the length, 8 inches. Here I am pinning the pattern pieces. The front is cut on the fold and the back is open, so we can add a zipper. I pinned the patterns to the lining fabric and cut those pieces out. Here I have all of my pieces with the lining. The straps will be cut later. I started off by sewing the darts on the lining, making sure I leave some thread at the end so I can tie a knot. I'm just making sure that the darts look good. After I review that, I go ahead and sew the darts on the fabric. Once I finish sewing the darts, I go ahead and take them to my ironing board so I can press them, making sure it doesn't leave any bubbles. I also make sure while I'm pressing that I give the bust some shape, and I like doing that with this pressing pillow. It gives the bust a good shape. These are my pieces. Now the fabric and the lining with the darts already sewn and pressed. Here are the back pieces, the lining and the fabric. The center is open so we can add a zipper, and now we are going to sew the side seams. So we're going to put the front piece with the back pieces and sew those together. Now it's time to try the top. I make sure it fits me well. I also make sure that I have a fabric left on the back so I can add the zipper. It looks like it fits me well, and I like how it's looking. There is one thing I would like to change. I feel the top is too wide, so I'm going to mark a spot here where I will cut, and it will go all the way down to the side seam. Now that I see the top fits well, I'm going to go ahead and press the side seams open so it looks nice and neat. Now it's time to cut the top where I had marked it before. I put pins so make sure the fabric does not move. I also make sure that I cut the same on the lining, and then I also transfer those alterations onto my sewing patterns for future projects. Now it's time to sew the ruffle pieces together, and then I'm also pressing those seams. For a cleaner finish, I decided to do French seams. To do a French seam, you first have to sew the seams as normal, and then you trim them down to 1/4 of an inch, and then you flip them over and sew them again, and this is how they should look. Now to make the gathers, you sew 2 stitches on the top of the fabric. You use the widest length stitch you have on your machine, and you make sure that you do not backstitch at the ends. Now I am pinning the ruffle to the top. I am dividing them in equal parts so the gathers are equally divided all around the top. Now it's time to gather. I make sure that the gathers are all evenly spread out, and then once I'm done, I just make a knot with the remaining threads so it doesn't come undone. Now it's time to try the top again. I love how it's looking, and as you can see, I already hemmed the bottom of the ruffle. Now it's time to add the zipper. For the zipper, I like adding a piece of fusible interfacing just to make it thicker and give the zipper a bit more structure. For that, I cut a piece of the length of the zipper by however much you left for the zipper. So in this case, I left 2.5 centimeters. So I went and cut a piece of the length of the zipper times 4 centimeters, which is half. So that way you don't see it when you put the zipper. After I pin the zipper to the fabric, I go ahead and prepare my sewing machine by changing the foot to a zipper foot, and then I can go ahead and start sewing the zipper. Here I am sewing the other side of the zipper, which has a visible flap that goes on one side that covers the zipper. Once I'm done sewing the zipper, I go ahead and try the top on again just to make sure it fits right, and it looks like it fits very well, so I am very happy with that. Now it's time to cut the straps. For this, I cut 4 pieces of the width of the fabric by 5 inches. The width of the fabric in my case is 27 inches, and I cut 4 pieces. Now it's time to sew the strips. I sew them at 1/2 centimeter. At this point, my machine finally gave up and decided to stop working. Never happy when things like this happen, but they happen, so the only thing you can do is try to figure out what's the problem. Here I am trying to see if there's the wrong connection with the pedal, but unfortunately everything is good, and so my only option was to take it to the shop. Turns out there was a small problem in the motor, but my repairman was able to fix it very quick and gave me my machine back the next day. I was able to finish sewing all the strips, and now I'm just turning them over. After pressing the strips, I go ahead and grab them and position them on the top where I want them to be and put pins so they are ready to sew. After I place the strips where I want them to go on the top, I take them to my sewing machine and add a stitch at about 1/2 centimeter. Now it's time to sew the lining. I go ahead and grab the lining and match it with the top, and I sew it at 1 centimeter. I then make sure that all the curves are clipped, so when I turn it around, it's finished nicely. And then here I am just making the final touches. I'm adding my label, and here is the final look. Thank you so much for watching, and remember to like and subscribe.